Don't you have to give permission? Don't you have to give permission?
İzin vermen gerekmiyor mu?
Can collect. Can collect.
Toplayabilir.
Must accept. Must accept.
Kabul etmesi gerekir.
You won't be a cleaner every week. You won't be a cleaner every week.
Her hafta temizlikçi olmayacaksın.
I have to put it back in 5 years. I have to put it back in 5 years.
5 asır sonra yerine koymalıyım.
Sometimes I was a firefighter. Sometimes I was a firefighter.
Bazen itfaiyeciydim.
I do not exclude. External pull.
Dış çekme.
Was your uncle an artist? Uncle artist?
Amcan sanatçısı.
Don't we design daily? Shouldn't they be designing daily?
Günlük tasarım yapmamaları gerekir mi?
Were our brothers civil servants? Will our brothers become civil servants?
Kardeşlerimiz memur olurlar mı?
Was your wife a sailor? Is your spouse a maritime piracy?
Eşiniz denizci korsanlığı mı?
Can you rest in the afternoon? Can you rest in the afternoon?
Öğlen dinlenebilir mi?
My son was a hydrologist. Was a hydrologist.
Hidrologdu.
Your uncle was a nutritionist. Your uncle was a nutritionist.
Amcan beslenme uzmanıydı.
Was her mother a painter? Is her mother a painter?
Annesi ressam mı?
Does not undertake. Does not undertake.
Üstlenmiyor.
Not immersed. Not immersed.
Dalmış değil.
Shouldn't he be a banker often? Shouldn't he be a banker often?
Sık sık bankacı olması gerekmiyor mu?
Couldn't you have shouted 5 days ago? Your explanation if you can't shout 5 days ago.
5 gün önce bağıramazsanız açıklamanız.
Couldn't apply next year. Couldn't apply next year.
Gelecek yıl başvuramadı.
Frequent historian. Frequent historian.
Sık sık tarihçi.
Was her neighbor a dietitian? Neighbor dietitian transmission?
Komşusu diyetisyen iletimi.
Isn't it basic? Isn't it basic?
Temel değil mi?
His half-brother is a sailor. His half-brother is a sailor.
Üvey erkek kardeşi denizcidir.
You can appreciate. You can appreciate.
Takdir edebilirsin.
They would not ignore. They would not ignore.
Göz yummazlardı.
I wouldn't call. I wouldn't call.
Aramazdım.
Would he do a bi-weekly athlete? Does an athlete do it every 2 weeks?
2 haftada bir atlet yapar mı?
Can't they lie now? Won't they lie now?
Şimdi yalan söylemezler mi?
His stepfather is a pilot. His stepfather is a pilot.
Üvey babası pilottur.
Sometimes he did. Sometimes he did.
Bazen getiriyordu.
Did they lie at night? Did he lie at night?
Gece vakti yalan mı söyledi?
Was his half-brother a director? The half-sister library?
Üvey kardeş kütüphanesi.
Is his nephew an illusionist? Is his nephew an illusionist?
Yeğeni illüzyonist mi?
Was his stepfather a shop assistant? Her stepdad is a shop assistant gone?
Üvey babası tezgahtar gitmiş.
Is her nephew a columnist? Is her nephew a columnist?
Yeğeni köşe yazarı mı?
Should not advertise immediately. Should not advertise immediately.
Hemen reklam yapmamalıdır.
Was his friend a paramedic? His friend is the Ministry of Health prison?
Arkadaşı Sağlık Bakanlığı hapishanesi.
I may not be a cop in 5 hours. I may not be a cop in 5 hours.
5 saat sonra polis olmayabilirim.
Are his relatives butchers? Are his relatives butchers?
Akrabaları kasap mı?
Could you feed? Could you feed?
Besleyebildin mi?
It cannot be mentioned. It cannot be spoken of.
Bundan söz edilemez.
Is to take care of. is to take care of.
İlgilenmek içindir.
Can he build every week? Can I build every week?
Her hafta inşa edebilir miyim?
Wouldn't it be an investment at dawn? No investment at dawn?
Şafakta yatırım olmaz mı?
Sold 1 month ago. I removed it 1 month ago.
Bir ay önce kaldırıyorum.
Our grandchildren are foremen. Our grandchildren are foremen.
Torunlarımız ustabaşı.
Did I understand? Do I understand?
Anlar mıyım?
My grandchildren were psychiatrists. My grandchildren psychiatrist.
Torunlarım psikiyatristi.
Can't you press it the night before? Can't you press it the night before?
Bir gece önce bastıramaz mısınız?
She is laughing. She is laughing.
O gülüyor.
Wouldn't you be a civil engineer in 2 days? Can't you go to a civil engineer in 2 days?
2 gün sonra inşaat mühendisi gitmeniz olmaz mı?
Didn't they collect it later? Didn't they collect?
Toplamadılar mı?
Did not behave. Did not behave.
Davranamadı.
Will take a step. Will take a step.
Bir adım atacak.
Is he caught? Is he caught?
Yakalanıyor mu?
Can't we dance a century from now? Can't we dance a century from now?
Bir asır sonra dans edemez miyiz?
It can massage after 2 seconds. It can massage after 2 seconds.
2 saniye sonra masaj yapabilir.
Normally not going forward. Normally go forward.
Normalde ileri gitme.
Not excluded? Not excluded?
Dışlanmadı mı?
She shouldn't be modeling at dawn. She shouldn't be modeling at dawn.
Şafakta modellik yapmamalı.
Was his nephew a locksmith? Is her nephew locksmith spreading?
Yeğeni çilingir yayılıyor mu?
Can't we just lay pipes then? Can't we just lay pipes then?
O zaman boru döşeyemez miyiz?
Shall we enter? Shall we enter?
Girelim mi?
Should I go to the undertaker now? Should we go to the undertaker now?
Şimdi cenazeciye gitmeli miyiz?
Wouldn't he be a cameraman in 3 weeks? Doesn't the cameraman leave in 3 weeks?
3 hafta sonra kameraman gitmez mi?
Can he draw in an hour? Can he draw in an hour?
1 saat sonra çizebilir mi?
Was my brother-in-law a nurse? My brother-in-law's secretary general?
Kayınbiraderim genel sekreteri.
Should not be created often. Should not be created often.
Sık sık yaratmamalı.
Is your half-sister a technician? Is your half-sister a technician?
Üvey kız kardeşin teknisyen mi?
It should run. It should run.
Koşması gerekir.
We were able to become governor 4 centuries ago. We were able to be valid 4 centuries ago.
4 asır önce geçerli olabildik.
His nephews were contractors. His nephews were contractors.
Yeğenleri müteahhitti.
Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week? Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week?
1 hafta sonra sağlık görevlisi olmayacak mıyız?
Should I never write words? Should I never write words?
Asla söz yazmamalı mıyım?
I disagree. I structure.
Ben yapısı.
May not kick. Can't kick.
Tekme atamaz.
Her stepdaughter was the lead actress. Her stepdaughter was the lead actress.
Üvey kızı başrol oyuncusuydu.
They are night watchmen at dusk. They are night watchmen at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta gece bekçileridir.
My aunt was a urologist. My aunt was a urologist.
Teyzem ürologdu.
He couldn't be a songwriter 3 nights ago. 3 nights ago he couldn't be a songwriter.
3 gece önce söz yazarı olamıyor.
You can't fish often. You can't fish often.
Sık sık balık tutamazsınız.
Can't work often. Can't work often.
Sık sık çalışamaz mı?
His stepfather is a preacher. His stepfather is a preacher.
Üvey babası vaizdir.
We will diversify. We will diversify.
Çeşitlendireceğiz.
I was not an educator then. I was not an educator then.
O zaman eğitimci olamadım.
We were not rarely sheriffs. We were not rarely sheriffs.
Nadiren şerif değildik.
Will it grow? Will it grow?
Büyüyecek mi?
Should not be audited every month. Printing should not be done every month.
Her ay baskı yapılmamalıdır.
Was your stepbrother a dentist? Is your stepbrother a dental muscle?
Üvey kardeşin dişçi kası mı?
Your nephew is a lawyer. Your nephew is a lawyer.
Yeğeniniz avukat.
Won't you buy? Don't you buy?
Satın almıyor musunuz?
His grandchildren were fashion designers. Descendants were fashion keepers.
Torunları moda koruyucusuydu.
Will we not borrow? Will we not be caught?
Tutulmayacak mıyız?
I couldn't leave at dusk. I couldn't leave at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta ayrılamadım.
I'm not a doctor at sunrise. I'm not a doctor at sunrise.
Gün doğarken doktor değilim.
Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks? Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks?
2 haftada bir katılmamalı mı?
Do they comment annually? Do they comment annually?
Yıllık mı yorumluyorlar?
Are your parents inspectors? Are your parents inspectors?
Ailen müfettiş mi?
He would say. He would say.
Derdi.
Don't you need to consult now? Don't you need to meet immediately?
Hemen karşılamanız gerekmez mi?
Then it could be a baker. Then it could be a baker.
O zaman fırıncı olabilir.
Didn't I harvest at dusk? Couldn't harvest at dusk?
Alacakaranlıkta hasat edemedim mi?
Is it called at 1 a.m.? Was it said at 1 a.m. at midnight?
Gece yarısında birde mi söylendi?
Will they be elected a century later? Will they be elected a century later?
Bir asır sonra mı seçilecekler?
Can't I be an occasional beekeeper? Can't I be an occasional beekeeper?
Ara sıra arıcı olamaz mıyım?
Should they listen? Should they listen?
Dinlemeliler mi?
After 2 seconds you should be an alchemist. Become an alchemist in 2 seconds.
2 saniye sonra simyacı olun.
Can we add? Should we use?
Kullanmalı mıyız?
Do I get engaged often? Do I get engaged often?
Sık sık nişan alır mıyım?
He yawned. He yawned.
Esnedi.
I have to connect at noon. I'm connected at noon.
Öğlen bağlantılıyım.
She can be a housewife in the previous one evening. She can be a housewife in the previous one evening.
Önceki bir akşam ev hanımı olabilir.
Their stepmother is a golfer. Their stepmother is a golfer.
Üvey anneleri golfçu.
I always produce. I'm always a producer.
Ben hep üreticiyim.
Don't you have to love? Don't you have to love?
Sevmek gerekmiyor mu?
His stepdaughters were housewives. His stepdaughters were housewives.
Üvey kızları ev hanımıydı.
His brothers were musicians. Male organs were musicians.
Erkek organları müzisyendi.
His half-sisters were messengers. His half-sisters were messengers.
Üvey kız kardeşleri haberciydi.
Our grandmother was a maid. Our grandmother was a maid.
Anneannemiz hizmetçiydi.
Should I go to the pediatrician at sunrise? Should I go to child deaths at sunrise?
Gün doğumunda çocuk ölümlerine gitmeli miyim?
Our niece is an artist. Our niece is an artist.
Yeğenimiz sanatçı.
You may not confess every day. You may not be able to confess every day.
Her gün itiraf edemeyebilirsin.
Were you invisible in the twilight? Are you hidden in the twilight?
Alacakaranlıkta gizlin mi?
Won't he be a congressman by sunset? Won't he be a congressman at the end of the day?
Gün bitiminde kongre üyesi olmayacak mı?
Was going to set it up last year. Was going to set it up last year.
Geçen yıl ayarlayacaktı.
Wouldn't it add at dawn? Doesn't it add dawn?
Şafak vakti eklemez.
Can you prepare 1 week in advance? Can you prepare for 1 week?
Bir hafta boyunca hazırlayabilir misiniz?
He does not create. He does not create.
O yaratmaz.
You can give a job. You can do business.
İş yapabilirsin.
Not mentioned? Don't you understand?
Anlanmıyor mu?
I may be missing. I may be missing.
Eksikim olabilir.
Was her daughter a songwriter? Does her daughter write lyrics?
Kızı söz yazar mı?
Do we have to wear it at sunrise? Do we have to wear it at sunrise?
Güneş doğarken giymek zorunda mıyız?
Was your half-brother a shop assistant? Is your stepbrother a shop assistant?
Üvey kardeşin tezgahtar mı?
Relatives were caregivers. Relatives were caregivers.
Akrabaları bakıcıydı.
You cannot be an anesthesiologist at dusk. You cannot be an anesthesiologist at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta anestezist olamaz.
Our husband is a urologist. Our husband is a urologist.
Kocamız ürolog.
Is his neighbor a leader? Neighbor leader?
Komşusu lideri mi?
I won't cost every week. I won't cost every week.
Her haftaya mal olmayacağım.
Could analyze. Could analyze.
Analiz edebiliyordu.
Could not manage. Can't manage.
İdare edemiyor.
Your family was a stockbroker. The family was a stockbroker.
Aile borsacıydı.
Your husband is an artist. Husband artist.
Koca sanatçı.
Are you the monthly warrior? Are you a monthly warrior?
Aylık savaşçısı mısın?
My son is a designer. Wears her accessories.
Aksesuarını giydirir.
Is my friend the second man? Is my friend the second man?
Arkadaşım ikinci adam mı?
Can he often be a scavenger? Can he be a frequent scavenger?
Sık sık çöpçü mü olabilir?
We can't get it after a month. We can't get it after a month.
Bir ay sonra alamıyoruz.
Can't we vote? Can't we vote?
Oy kullanamaz mıyız?
Will we not borrow? Will we not be caught?
Tutulmayacak mıyız?
My neighbor is a soldier. My neighbor is a soldier.
Komşum asker.
Noon businessman, right? Isn't the food businessman?
Yemek iş adamı değil mi?
Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks? Shouldn't he attend every 2 weeks?
2 haftada bir katılmamalı mı?
You can race. You can race.
Yarışabilirsin.
Her husband is a mediator. Husband is the mediator.
Koca arabulucudur.
Don't we hate every year? Don't you hate every year?
Her yıl nefret etmiyor musun?
Shouldn't he be a banker often? Shouldn't he be a banker often?
Sık sık bankacı olması gerekmiyor mu?
Rarely am I not an agent? Rarely am I not an agent?
Nadiren ajan değil miyim?
Will you vote? Will you vote?
Oy verecek misin?
Should throw. Should throw.
Atmalıdır.
Did I host? Did I host?
Barındırdım mı?
Can you call often? Can you call often?
Sık sık hitap edebilir misiniz?
Can we own? Can we own?
Mal olabilir miyiz?
Don't we check? Don't you check?
Kontrol etmiyor musunuz?
Does not continue. Does not continue.
Devam etmiyor.
Wouldn't he be an industrialist after 4 years? Wouldn't he be an industrialist after 4 years?
4 yıl sonra sanayici olmaz mı?
Can you fit often? Can it fit often?
Sık sık sığabilir mi?
They are locked. They are locked.
Onlar kilit.
We weren't close for 5 weekends before. It wasn't close to 5 weekends before.
Daha önce 5 hafta sonu yakın değildi.
Was to meet. Was to meet.
Tanışmak mıydı?
Aren't they chefs at 3 p.m.? Aren't they chief in 3 postmortem?
Ölümden sonra 3'te şef değiller mi?
His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter.
Teyzesi kelle avcısıydı.
Did I defend? Did I defend?
Savundum mu?
Were our grandchildren tailors? Do our grandchildren have tailor extensions?
Torunlarımız terzi uzantılı mı?
We couldn't leave. We couldn't leave.
Ayrılamadık.
Can't they sit normally? Can't they sit normally?
Normal oturamazlar mı?
Developer every month, right? Developer every month, right?
Her ay geliştirici değil mi?
Shouldn't they be given a job? Shouldn't they be hired?
İş vermeleri gerekmez mi?
Was her sister a farmer? Did her sister farmer enter?
Ablası çiftçi girdi mi?
We had not been in intensive care for a weekend before. He had not been in intensive care for a weekend before.
Daha önce bir hafta sonu yoğun bakımda değildi.
Was your sister a rower? Was your sister a rower?
Kız kardeşin kürekçi miydi?
Was her brother a florist? Sibling florist cafe?
Kardeşi çiçekçi kafesi.
Can't we burn weekly? Can't we burn weekly?
Haftalık yakamaz mıyız?
Will not be selected every week. Will not be desired every week.
Her hafta arzulanmayacak.
Wouldn't it connect? Won't it connect?
Bağlanmaz mı?
Can't they close after 2 days? Can't they close after 2 days?
2 gün sonra kapatamazlar mı?
Nanny after 3 days? Nanny after 3 days?
3 gün sonra dağdı mı?
Was it 5 inspectors the previous morning? 5 inspectors circular the previous morning?
Önceki sabah 5 müfettiş genelgesi.
I can't catch. I don't steal.
Yaka çalmam.
Shouldn't they be rowing soon? Shouldn't they be rowing soon?
Yakında kürekleri çekmeleri gerekmiyor mu?
Shouldn't we apply? Shouldn't we apply?
Başvurmamız gerekmiyor mu?
He wouldn't get off the ship. He wouldn't get off the ship.
Gemiden inmeyecekti.
Can't we get a manicure in 3 weeks? Can't we have an abortion after 3 weeks?
3 hafta sonra kürtaj yaptırsak olmaz mı?
Your son was a blacksmith. Your son was a blacksmith.
Oğlun demirciydi.
I taught at noon. Noon trainer.
Öğlen eğitmeni.
Can I choose? Does it carry?
Taşır mı?
Don't I grow every day? Don't I grow every day?
Her gün büyümüyor muyum?
Aren't they painters later on? Aren't they painters?
Ressam değiller mi?